Gentleman from Texas, Dr. Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I welcome the opportunity to speak out in opposition to this resolution. Let me very briefly state what the essence of the whole resolution says, and it's in section 3, and it's 10 pages long, but it's narrowed down to 2 sentences. We're giving the President the authority to defend the national security of the United States against the continuing threat posed by Iraq. In other words, we are transferring the power to declare war to the President. He can declare the war and fight the war when he pleases, and that's number one. Number two, equal to number one, enforce all relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions. In this bill that we're working on, they mention United Nations 25 times. They never mention Article 1, Section 8 once. I have 3 main concerns. One is, first, the merits of the war itself. That's been addressed rather extensively so far. The constitutional process, which I think we have totally neglected. And also something else that we don't talk about much, but gets us to these places so often, and we wonder why we're here, and that is the philosophy of our foreign policy. Lately, in dealing with this resolution, we deal with the technical aspects of it. We have long forgotten about what the morally just war was all about, defined more than 1,000 years ago. And I don't think this one meets up to this. It has been stated that we are starting something historically different, and I believe we are. We're institutionalizing the concept of preemptive war. We're embarking on something brand new and different. It is not part of our traditions, and it's not part of our Constitution. War in a morally just war should be defensive after you've been attacked and aggression has been committed against us. Also, it should be of last resort. Negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. It should be the last resort, and also the legitimate authority has to be there to institutionalize the war. And I think we come up short with this. And we do not have any evidence that aggression has been committed by Saddam Hussein against us, no matter how bad a guy is, and there are a lot of bad guys around the world. There is no clear-cut evidence that there's an imminent threat right now. Even Secretary Powell admits the military of Iraq is much weaker than it was 12 years ago. And so far, there is nothing brand new compared to 2 months ago, 2 years ago, or even 12 years ago that says that we must send our kids over there to fight this war. The constitutional process, I think, has been sadly neglected. It is very clear in the Constitution, and it's very clear in our history about where this power to wage war and declare war resides, and it resides in the U.S. Congress. Now, the answer so often that I hear when I raise this is, but we've done it before. Of course we've done it before, but does that make it right? Oh, we have the War Powers Resolution that permits war for 60 to 90 days. That is an illegal, unconstitutional transfer of power. If we want the President to make these decisions, the Constitution should be amended, and it hasn't been, and that's what we're doing with this resolution. We're circumventing the Constitution to allow the President to make a decision that falls on our shoulders and we're neglecting. And I think we should think about that seriously, because I think it fits into the philosophy of the last 50 or 60 years. The last half of the last century, we did evolve our foreign policy to the point where now we have become the self-appointed world policeman. We have accepted not the foreign policy of the founders and the foreign policy of the Constitution, where you have a strong national defense and you defend our country while being friends and trading, but we've involved ourselves in entangling alliance and involved ourselves in the internal affairs of so many nations. But now we have allowed this to happen to the point where we're responsible for everything, and yet the Congress is responsible for nothing. Congress is there to rubber stamp what is happening, and not only are we derelict in our duty in transferring this power to the President, both the executive branch and the legislative branch are derelict in allowing this power once again to be transferred to the United Nations. We should take this very seriously, because the policy of foreign intervention has a poor record. It hasn't worked very well. I believe because we have avoided the Constitution in the way we declare war, we have had so many failures. We don't win wars anymore. And we should be very cautious to follow the rule of law.
Fire.